Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between and otherwise. I am Wyvern Oleander, and welcome to the first Bountiful Wilds Beginner's Guide. This will be a relatively short video compared to all the things that I could potentially cover, but if you're unfamiliar with various modded Minecraft things, or simply want a handful of tips and tricks to smooth your journey, well, why not continue watching? I am recording in the current in-dev version, which should be released as a proper update either shortly after or shortly before this video is released, once we hit 2,000 downloads, which, as a side note, thank you to everyone watching who has contributed to that, because I've been working on this pack for a little over a year now, and it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you can join me. Before we actually get into a world, there are a couple of things that we can look at. Most notably is World Preview, which loads up a preview of the seed that you might spawn into so that you don't have to wait for a world to load in completely if you're seed searching or whatever else. So you can see various biomes and their general shape on a very zoomed out scale. As of this moment, this generate a random seed button doesn't seem to be working properly, but it's not all that difficult to just load it again. And I will be back with you once I have loaded into something for the next part. When you load into a world for the first time, or for the second time if you used World Preview for reasons that I haven't been able to figure out, you'll be presented with this screen, where you can choose first origin, then aspect, subtype, if your aspect has that available, background, and class. There are so many options. For the purpose of this showcase, I am just going to pick the most neutral ones. One of the things, before we actually get into some of the main content, there are some fun little keybinds. For example, 0 will show you all of your origin information. And here are a selection of keybinds on the screen now. I will just let this sit for a moment so you can see them. You can also find them in the controls menu as normal, which now has a search bar. So, as you can see, we have spawned in quite a beautiful location, and there are some things in my hotbar, and a couple of other things on the screen. These ability bottles, and similar ability totems, can be found throughout the world in dungeon chests, on mobs, and that's about it. And they grant abilities. For example, this one. And they cost XP. You can right-click on a bottle or a totem to open it up, click on the ability, and click the arrows to either add or remove it from your character. It can theoretically be a way to store XP if you want to, but there are much more efficient ways of doing that, which I will show you later on. Secondly, we have the Questbook, which, when you right-click, opens this menu, in which I have made several quests mostly functioning as a starter kit, thanks to some previous bugs we were having when I tried to do a normal starter kit. Most of them are simple click a button, get the things. Others have choices, and others have requirements. All of the create quests, which have different descriptions saying what something does, what it is, and ways that you can use it beyond original design. This specific one I will be showing you in a moment. And they have requirements so that you can ignore them if you would like to. One of the more notable quest items is the cocoa beans, because with one of the mods that we have, small jungle trees don't spawn. I have not been able to figure out how to force them to spawn. So, until I do, free cocoa beans in the quests. Go into the Curios menu through your inventory, although you're perfectly welcome, of course, to set your own keybind if you would like. As you saw in the little pop-up I did earlier, B opens the backpack, and holding N opens the toolbelt, which can hold any non-stackable item and any bedroll, which I had to add manually. Let's hop down, go through JourneyMap and JEI before I do a little bit of setup off camera for the more complicated things. You can press J to open the JourneyMap world map, which has its own little legend here on the corner for the various keybinds specifically related to it. This button is the Waypoints Manager, which you can also reach with Control and comma if you don't want to open the world map. Comma by itself places a waypoint, which when you walk away from it, you will see world and on. Unless you don't want to, in which case you can hit period to toggle them off and on again. Waystones, which are a method of teleportation, will place their own waypoints. Demonstrate like so. Name that E for no particular reason. Unless manually changed in the Waypoint Manager, Waystone waypoints are always white. Just as a fun fact. The waystones are designed such that if you're not standing at a waystone or using a warp stone, which in quests, which you can reach from the little book over on the side, when you first see a waystone in world, you can receive your choice of some of the default options and a warp stone. The button in your inventory, which is right here, will only return you to the nearest waystone. Similarly, this one A, there is an XP cost for waystones that are close to each other, simply to encourage the use of other methods of transportation, such as boats, horse carts, and creates trains. Because this mod pack does include create. The warp stone, which I will grab, allows you to access the normal waystone inventory and teleport between them as you wish. They do have cooldown and a durability bar, but they're not exceedingly difficult to get. Now, if you'll give me just a moment, I'll set up some things and explain some other things. And as you can see, I have made a bit of a mess and some shenanigans. But before we properly go through them, I realized as I was setting these up that I forgot to explain the other fairly redundant if you're familiar with modded Minecraft in general, but useful if you're new, thing. JEI, and I'm doing a dramatic hand gesture at my screen, which you can't see. The main feature of JEI is to be able to search and view recipes for any block and item. The way that it works is fairly simple. left-click or hit R to view the recipes for an item, which you can scroll through the various tabs that will show all the different ways of how to make it, and then you can right-click or hit U to view all the uses of that item. And similarly, there are a variety of tabs. I find it generally a good idea, if a pack has JEI, to scroll through some of the options. If you want to save a recipe for later, for instance, I want to make a lot of fruiting avocado leaf hedges, but not right now, just later, and I need to remember how they're made. I can either bookmark it like this, clicking this button, or I can hover over the item and press A, and it will show up on the side. I can press A again to remove it. And now that we've covered that, let's go over all of this nonsense. With a mod pack as large as this one, that has so many items and options and things, storage tends to become a little bit of a problem when using only the vanilla methods. Which is why I have included nomadic tents, functional storage, and as a side note, pretty pipes. Functional storage works similar to storage drawers, if you are familiar with that one, in which each block can hold up to 4 separate items to more than a stack. One of the particular things about functional storage that I like over storage drawers is that it is wireless. I didn't mean to do that. Using a linking tool, which you can get in the quests, if you make any storage drawer, you can right-click a drawer controller, and it will highlight the area that any drawer within this boundary can be linked to, whether it is touching or otherwise physically connected to the controller at all. You simply need to right-click to add or remove drawers with the controller, and it in and of itself functions as an access point for anything like pretty pipes, creates belts and funnels and mechanical hands, and anything else of that nature, including just a vanilla hopper. They can hold several stacks of items and can be upgradable. The same upgrades are used for the drawers and the controller. The only difference is with the controller, it upgrades the range of how far it can be used instead of amount of storage it can hold. Nomadic tents is considerably simpler. You craft a tent, or receive one from Questbook, which this is the same size of tent that you would get from the quest, which is the largest you can craft without any minerals. But then immediately, once you get a gold block, I have set the quests up to be able to grant you the next tier up. Using a tent mallet, block by block, or a golden tent mallet all at once, you build the tent, and enter in to an extra-dimensional space that can be upgraded both out horizontally and vertically, because you can add a basement. This becomes your own little pocket dimension, which, if you somehow manage to break the walls of the tent, you can expand into other directions, but I personally don't know how to do that. I have seen people do it, but I don't know how to do it myself. Inside the tent, you can do whatever you want. Create machines if you can fit them, storage, cooking, sleeping, because if you set a tent down, put your respawn point in the tent, and pick up your tent later, you will respawn where the tent was the last time you placed it. Things in the tent only load when there is someone in them, or, I suppose, a chunk loader. Similar to how going between the Nether and the Overworld works. And then pretty pipes can be used, well, if you're familiar with modded Minecraft pipes, then just about any way like them. They can be set up with various modules, including extraction to be able to take things out of a container, or filters to limit what can go into a container. This particular one is just set up to run this stone generator, the sifters, and the other sifter, so that I could have something in the storage setup so to more accurately show how it works. And speaking of, it is time for Create. There are very many videos that exist that explain how to use Create, especially base Create. I will link one of my favorite ones in the description, because if I tried to cover that in this video, it would be very long, and I don't have time for that. I might, at some point, do a Bountiful Wilds specific Create guide, but that is not in the plans at this time. Also, my cat has come to say hello, and possibly sit on my keyboard. This stone generator, as you can see, has, in fact, andesite. I got a mod specifically to make stone generators make andesite, diorite, granite, and cobble in addition to stone, for the purpose of andesite is very useful for Create machines, in addition to being a generally good block. And if you can't find any, you're out of luck. However, the only way that it really works, the most efficient way that it works, Phaz, please lay down, Phaz is the name of the cat, is if you set up a sophisticated backpack with a magnet upgrade underneath it, so that it will pick up the items as they fall. There are more efficient ways for a cobblestone-only generator. Also, apologies if you can hear my cat rubbing on the microphone. She wants attention, and she does not care that I'm recording, but I'm leaving this in because it amuses me. There are more efficient ways to do a cobblestone-only generator with Create 6.0, but that doesn't actually break the cobblestone block that is generated. So it doesn't work for being able to, for the code of the mod that I added to do this. Turn that off. And you can sort of see the various blocks moving through pipes and making their way into the storage setup. Sifters are something that I found fairly early on in the development of this pack, which their primary function, in my opinion, is to turn gravel into minerals, including and up to diamond experience points, which are not minerals, but it counts to me, and then turning sand into redstone and bone meal. There are a variety of recipes that you can use JEI to look at. If I just look at the recipes, you can see all these different things that can be done. Some of them require the brass sifter, some of them require the regular sifter or a waterlogged sifter, and so on and so forth. I really enjoy them, they're quite a bit of fun. The other primary Create little add-on is the slicer, which can be used to process any Farmer's Delight cutting recipe automatically, whether it's using this swirling vortex of knives to turn raw beef into ground beef, or use the swirling vortex of shears to turn a leather hat into more usable leather, an axe to strip logs and get bark, or a pickaxe to, I believe, crack various things. I don't remember the pickaxe recipes off the top of my head. Hello, Phas, why are you bopping my nose? Why are you so wanting attention so much while I'm recording? Can't you see I'm trying to be professional here? Of course, I could just cut that out, but I'm not going to. In fact, if she's not sitting on my stream deck, in the corner you should now see the aforementioned cat, though not at this exact moment. Her name is Phasmar, Phas for short. Back to what we're doing, as it's now nighttime. Any experience can be put through this disenchanter from Create Enchantment Industry. Please don't lay on my stream deck. Please do lay down, though. Thank you. I'd like to be able to see Phas. Can be put into a tank as liquid experience, which... Go back into survival real quick so that I can pick up this wrench. Can be used to fill up your experience bar. And there's phantoms. If you stand on top of the disenchanter yourself, all of your XP will be drained and put into the tank. So if you have a lot of levels and want to do something potentially dangerous, or are playing on a multiplayer server and someone wants to be able to use your head to decorate, because we have that ability in this pack, you can just put your levels in the tank and then you won't lose them. It is also fantastic for XP farms. And speaking of enchanting, this is probably, aside from Create, the most complicated aspect of the pack from what I have observed from people other than me playing. And it is the way that enchanting works in and of itself. As you can see, the GUI is entirely different. Let me grab a tool. Make a pickaxe. The way that Matrix Enchanting from Quark works, and I will have a link in the description to the mod pack, or the mod author's description, and also a more concise explanation of what the candles are doing. What the candles are doing is they are influencing what enchantment we will get. I'm actually going to get all this XP back so that we can use it. Through hitting this button and playing a bit of a game of Tetris, as you can see, this Silk Touch says candle influence 50%. So now you know having pink candles on your enchanting setup influences getting Silk Touch. And the link that I will put in the description will have the full list. I considered making a little pop-up like I did for the Keybinds, but it's a long list, and I didn't figure that it would make for very good viewing. I think I will turn this one around. So the way that this works, you can left-click to pick up the tile, right-click to rotate, and when enchantments are the same type, see this is efficiency 1, this is now efficiency 3, you can stack them together, and you should. So now this is efficiency 3, upgrade 2 of 3. That way it saves space and also makes your enchantments more powerful, because now this is efficiency 4. I'm just going to load up as many of these as I can. You can change around which ones you have for the different shapes. Can I fit this soulbound enchant in here? I cannot. That's unfortunate. Maybe I can, if I turn this around. that up here. There we go. And there is the best puzzle that I could do for a Silk Touch Soulbound Efficiency 4 Unbreaking 3 pick. And I got an enchantment, advancement for that. And one of the fun little things is that it shows up when you're not in the GUI. And before we are completely finished, have a funky little create fact for this mod in which we could use a copper grate to provide all the water for a level 4 steam engine. I don't know why it works this way, but I am delighted because it makes things so much more compact. And then if you have lava source conversion turned on, which I tend to, you can just use 3 blocks of lava to directly power your blaze burners. As I know that there are very many things in this mod pack that I did not cover in this video, please do let me know if there is anything you would like to see in, perhaps, a Beginner's Guide Part 2. I do intend to do a series of sorts where, in addition to just regular play, I walk through how things work and just explain as I go. But I do not know when I will do that yet, so also just knowing what it is that you guys want to see more of will help me know what do I need to explore more. So, for the time being, I will see you next time. And so will Phaz, as she's pawing at my elbow. Bye.